So you just unlocked Ramuh and you're wondering how to use it. In this video we'll be going over all your iconic abilities, how to best utilize them, and fun combos you can do. So with that out the way, let's get into this, yeah? The main reason you should use Ramuh is for its iconic feat, Blind Justice. By pressing your iconic feat button, you'll start up a Kingdom Hearts shot lock. This doesn't slow down combat as much as Kingdom Hearts, as it feels like it's almost non-existent, but there is a slight slowdown. You could then lock on up to 6 times on a single enemy, or multiple enemies. This can be increased to 9 when you upgrade the skill. Here's something the game doesn't tell you. Each lock-on takes half a second, so the base Blind Justice takes 3 seconds, and the Master takes 4.5 seconds. Once you have the desired amount of lock-ons, press the button again to fire off the lightning. You can then discharge this by using your magic, or double your damage by hitting them with a melee attack. At my current level, magic does 157 damage, while melee does 315. Moving on to the iconic abilities. Pile Drive is up first. This is a big AoE around our hitbox that pushes back and knocks down smaller enemies. This knockdown is significantly longer than your typical knockdown, which lets you get a free Blind Justice off. When upgraded, it'll split the damage from 1 to 3 hits, which does overall more damage. It's a good iconic ability, but the cooldown is way too long for what it does. Next up is Thunderstorm. This is a single target nuke. It does a few small hits before the big hit comes crashing down. There is a startup animation where you twirl the staff, and this can juggle smaller enemies. Once upgraded, it'll do even more smaller hits before the big lightning. Smaller enemies that get knocked down act just like Pile Drive, so you could get a free Blind Justice off. This is a very strong skill when you acquire Ramuh, and I highly recommend you use this ability. Our third iconic ability is Lightning Rod. It drops an orb that discharges lightning when you or an enemy strikes it. If an enemy strikes it, then it'll do a lot more damage than if you would. Upgrading Lightning Rod doubles the range of the discharge. It can discharge up to 30 times before it disappears, so there's a lot of value to milk from this skill. Here's something that'll make Lightning Rod easier to use. If an enemy moves away from where you first placed it, then you could use the same input and it'll teleport the orb to where the enemy is. I highly recommend paying to your enemy's attack patterns and move pool, because you could use this as a defensive tool right as they were about to hit you with a multi-hit attack and severely punish them. See how the enemy's Katan backfires and does over half their will gauge? You can do this to bosses as well, as long as you're observant. Lightning Rod is an amazing iconic ability, as you could use it offensively or defensively, and it synergizes really well with your other iconic abilities. Lastly, our ultimate ability, Judgment Bolt. This ultimate pauses time and sends out a single lightning bolt that has splash damage to neighboring enemies. Once upgraded, you'll send out 2 lightning bolts, which does significant damage, and I highly recommend you use this when the enemy is staggered and you have built up the 50% damage multiplier. Now that we've covered all our iconic abilities, let's go over some fun combos you can use with your new toys. One of my favorite combos is dropping Lightning Rod and then using Gouge. This will shred your enemy's will gauge while doing massive AoE damage. When I'm playing defensively, then Lightning Rod and Will-O-the-Wisp is preferred to take no damage while I let my enemies hit themselves. If you get close enough to the Lightning Rod, then the Willow procs the 30 discharge a lot quicker. There's a bunch of combo potential out there, so let me know which is your favorite that you've been using. Hopefully this video helped you understand how to use Ramuh efficiently, and if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out the last one, which covers my spoiler-free ability tier list. Until the next video, I'll see ya!